Hello, it's Rico Caveglia, America's healthy aging trainer and creator of the Ageless Living Lifestyle. And this short training video is entitled Real Food, Real Fast. And that was actually the name of my very first hard copy book that I wrote. It's almost 20 years ago. This was called Real Food, Real Fast. It's all about how to make real food, which we're going to talk about today, and how to make it really fast. So I actually have a book. That book is actually about how to make healthy fast food, where you can make these delicious and nutritious meals in 15 minutes or less. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is a very important uh, training video, a very important topic because it's about food. And of course, everybody likes to eat, right? Who doesn't like to eat? And food is so important. And I have a saying that food is for energy, food is for uh, I forgot. What did I say? Food is for healing and food is for enjoyment. So choose it wisely. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, we have so many different food choices these days, and a lot of it is really detrimental to our health. So we're going to talk about that. Now, first of all, I want you to know from the very start that I'm not an extreme person at all. I don't believe in extremes. I think that, sometimes you should be able to eat anything you want if you really enjoy it and just bless that food and say it's going to be good for you and it won't be so bad for you. But most of the time, you got to learn how to eat real healthy food that's going to energize you and keep you from all these ailments that people have and from getting sick and dying way too young. And so you have a lot of energy. That's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So let's start by defining what the word nutrition really means. Nutrition is the process by which organisms absorb their proper food and nutrients to sustain life, promote growth, and repair tissues. Now, there's a real key word in there. When I first saw this definition, I thought it was really cool because there's a key word in there, and the key word is proper food. It doesn't say food. It doesn't say be on the seafood diet. You've heard of that. You see food and you eat it, no matter what it is. It's the proper food, and that's really important. Now, the definition of food means any nutritious substance that promotes life, growth, and healing. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about real food. Okay? So here's my saying. I gave it away. I said it too soon. Food is for energy, food is for healing, and food is for enjoyment. So choose it wisely. So to keep it real simple, there's because nutrition can be a really complex subject, and it's a subject of a whole weekend workshop to study about nutrition. But I'm going to show you how you can just boil it down to the main components, and if you just get a handle on this and follow these guidelines, it's going to make a big difference in your life. So there's three main components that make up what we call good nutrition. First one is ingestion. In other words, what you put in your body, and that is oxygen, water, and real organic food. Yes, oxygen and water are nutrients. As you know, we can only live about 4 or 5 minutes without oxygen and we die. And every metabolic function in our body requires lots of oxygen. So you've got to breathe, you've got to get lots of oxygen into your body. And then, of course, water. Water is also a nutrient. All of our cells need to be hydrated on a regular basis. Our bodies are about 70% water, our brain's about 80% water. So you got to stay hydrated. And then you've got to eat real organic food. So what is real organic food? Real food is what's grown in nature by Mother Nature. It's organic fruits and vegetables and some whole grains and nuts and seeds, and then some healthy raised animal products that are raised without any chemicals or any uh, uh, and cage free, not in a pen or a cage, raised naturally, and raised on in grass fed, not force fed all these uh, genetically modified grains that make them get really big and fat quickly. But when you eat that kind of food, you actually get in that genetically modified, uh, really poor quality grains food into your own physical body. So it's real simple. You just got to eat real food. And one tip is when you go into the market, uh, the, primarily the real food is around the perimeter. The fruits, the vegetables, the healthy animal products, and all the things that come in a box or a can or a package uh, are in the middle, and all these sales and specials. Those are things you mostly want to stay away from. We actually filmed a video of how to shop, and so you fill up your cart primarily 80% with real food, and then you can always put in a few things, like now these days there are an abundance of fairly healthy food that comes in a box or a can that doesn't have any chemicals and additives and all this stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. So that's it. If you just will begin to eat primarily real food, and try and eat your food up to 50% raw, raw vegetables, raw fruits. Those are the most nutritious. And it's also, when you're eating a lot of raw food, it's very unlikely that you'll overeat. And so you won't be eating too many calories and putting on those excess pounds and body fat that so many people do these days. So it's real simple. Eat real food. Now here's some non-foods that you definitely want to avoid. Packaged products that are highly processed and they contain a lot of chemical additives, dyes, like you see dye number 3 and number 5, those are known to become carcinogenic, nitrites and nitrates, any kind of preservatives, hydrogenated oils, and any big long chemical names that you don't know what they are. You don't want to put that into your body. So you got to read the labels of things. Now remember, real food doesn't come with a label. It doesn't need a label. It's already got what's in it is already known by Mother Nature. That's what we need to put in our bodies. Okay. So we don't want to eat any food that's genetically modified. The biggest foods that are genetically modified these days are corn, almost all corn, soy, and wheat. As a matter of fact, those three foods are probably a good one to avoid for most people anyway, because those are the ones that seem to be the most that cause people allergies: corn, soy, and wheat. So those are foods that primarily you should avoid anyway. And even if it's organic, if you're going to eat some wheat type of product, it needs to be gluten free. Any kind of grain product these days. So many people do have allergic reaction to gluten. And if you don't have allergic reaction, it's still gluten. It's so they've hybrid the wheat to where they really raise up the content of gluten because they use it in a lot of processed foods, and it's again, it causes a lot of inflammation in the body and causes a lot of trouble. So for most people, you'd be better off to go gluten free and avoid wheat products. And genetically modified, GMO stands for genetically modified organisms. First of all, there's no really long-term studies on what the ill effects could be from eating genetically modified foods for a long period of time. But there's already studies coming in that show there's some danger to it, and it's definitely a good thing to avoid. Most all in Europe, they already do not allow genetically modified foods. They're way ahead of we are. And of course, fried foods. When you fry foods at a high heat, it pretty much kills all the nutritional value and kills all the enzymes. And if you're eating fried fast food at these fast food restaurants, a lot of these restaurants, they actually reuse that fried vegetable oil, and they save it, and they reuse it again. They recycle it and fry it again. Here's my little helper, Bella, and it's you're eating rancid, highly heated vegetable oils, which are known to be really harmful to our body. So for the most part, you got to avoid fried foods, sodas, cokes. All those things are just nothing but acid and sugar, really harmful to the body. Way too much sugar, and the so-called energy drinks. These so-called energy drinks are not giving you energy. They're giving you a stimulant like caffeine and sugar and herbal stimulants that actually are causing you long-term fatigue, because when your adrenal glands are a little bit fatigued and you think you need something to give you some energy, what you need to do is breathe and get some water and get some real food, and get some rest, get enough sleep. That's how you get energy in your body. These energy drinks are really detrimental to your health. You don't want to drink those at all. And we really need to reduce or get rid of all the refined sugars, and especially these synthetic sweeteners, like Splenda and all those. They're known to be carcinogenic. Again, just think about it. All these things that man makes, all these synthetic foods that man makes, most likely they're not really. Uh, First of all, they're not nutritious, and they can be downright carcinogenic for us. So stick with whole natural foods. If you want to eat some sugar, I eat myself personally raw organic honey and maybe some organic maple syrup. That'd be the best sugars to eat. All right. Now, the second thing you have to know about nutrition is digestion and absorption. In other words, so what it doesn't matter what you're eating, you can eat the best food, but if you're not digesting it well and absorbing it, it's not going to do you any good as well. So here's some tips for digestion. When you eat, just eat. That's a big tip too for not overeating. You see, we have a thing in our brain called the apostat, and it lets you know when you're feeling full, like you've had enough. But if you're eating real fast and you're distracted, by watching TV or getting involved or reading or do something besides just concentrate on your eating, you're probably you're eating too fast and you're going to overeat because you're distracted and you don't know that you're full already. So the other part of that is to chew your food well, chew it slowly. And I mentioned this briefly before, but if you are eating something that you think is maybe not the most nutritious thing for you, well, just if you're going to eat it like something that you really enjoy, just bless it and say, This is going to be nutritious and health building for me, and I'm going to enjoy it. So once in a while, you can eat something that you really know that's not the most healthy food, but if you bless it, it'll probably be a lot better for you. Now, food combining, it's only basic two things you really need to know. Protein foods and sugar do not mix at all. See, when you eat a protein food, it gets digested in your stomach in an acid medium, and it has to lay in there, and all the hydrochloric acid has to come in and break it down. So if you eat like, say you eat a piece of meat, and then you put some dessert on top of that, because the sugar food is digested in the small intestine in an alkaline medium, but it gets trapped in your stomach, closes off to bring in all the acid to digest the protein, and so that sugar just ferments in the acid. And that's what causes heartburn and indigestion and all those kind of problems, and very poor absorption and very not and upsets your digestion. So always combine your protein foods, combine well with vegetables, and actually, that's pretty much it. It doesn't combine that well with starches or grains or with fat. Fats and proteins and vegetables combine well together. And actually, fruit and sugar foods actually don't combine well with anything. They should always be eaten as a snack or alone. So any kind of sweet or fruits or desserts should be eaten by themselves. And then you can combine vegetables with with grains or with fats, and you can combine vegetables with fats and protein. And the important thing is, again, is to stop before you feel full. The idea for eating is to get energy, right? So many times we eat, we overeat, and we just feel slowed down instead of having energy, right? So I'm sure I always ask this question when I speak to a group. Have you ever eaten a meal and then afterwards you felt kind of tired and slowed down? And everybody raises their hand. And that's either because you overate, so all the blood has to rush down into your stomach to try and deal with all that excess food in there, or you ate the food that we've just been talking about, the really highly processed, devitalized food that's so low in nutrition and so low in energy, it can actually put you on a negative. You see, it takes a certain amount of energy to digest and absorb and eliminate any food that you eat. It takes a certain amount of energy to do that. So if you're eating really highly processed, fast junk foods that are very low in energy, you can actually be on a negative, and that's what's make you feel tired instead of giving you energy. And the other thing about eating these highly processed junk foods, that they're so low in nutrition, they make you overeat because your body knows what it needs. So your body's all these calories are coming in, but you're not getting the nutrients. You're not getting the vitamins and minerals and enzymes that your body needs for metabolism. So it's saying, well, okay, we got all these calories, but where's the good stuff? What we need? So it keeps making you think you're hungry. So you tend to overeat when you eat all these junk foods. It becomes addictive to you. And the last thing that we have is it says king, queen, and prince. Although I have a little, I'm not really going along with this anymore, but it's kind of interesting. There's an old saying in English that in the morning you eat like a king, at noon you eat like a queen, and in the evening eat like a prince. That means you eat more in the morning, and then less at noon, and then even less in the evening. And it's kind of interesting. One of my Russian clients said they have this same saying, only it's a little bit different. They say in the morning, all the food you have, you eat yourself. At noon, all the food you have, you share with a friend. And in the evening, the food you have, you give it to your enemies. Because we all know that it's not good to overeat and eat too much in the evening because your body's. See, you should not eat actually 2 to 3 hours at least before you go to bed at night because our bodies shift from catabolic metabolism during the day. That means our body's bringing in calories and our body's breaking them down and we're absorbing them and we're using them for energy. And then in the night, when the sun goes down and gets dark, our body shuts down and shifts over to anabolic metabolism. Anabolic means repairing. So then we have to get rid of the waste products and we got to repair the damage that's done from the normal metabolic processes. So if you're still overloading yourself at night with a bunch of calories, your body has to stay in a catabolic metabolism instead of anabolic. So you're not actually getting to repair the damage, and you're wearing yourself out. You're aging yourself, and you're going to be creating imbalances and using up enzymes, and so you're going to be aging yourself and lowering your immune system, and you're just setting yourself up for disease. So it's really important to not eat late at night. And also, I don't think it's such a good idea to eat really a big meal in the morning, unless you're a construction worker. If you're out going out, or you're a farmer and you're going out early in the morning and you're going to work really hard, then you can eat a big meal. But for most of these days, you're not. So actually, breakfast is break your fast. So you don't want to break a fast by stuffing yourself with a whole lot of calories and a lot of heavy calories. So if you're working in an office or just not moving too much during the day, you want to start off a little slow, maybe just some fruit and some nuts, and then work your way up. At noon, have your larger meal. All right. So the third thing you need to know about nutrition is just its elimination. Now you have to, as we mentioned, you have to get rid of the waste products. And if you're doing all the things that we teach, if you're breathing, if you're exercising, you're sweating, you're hydrating your body, you're eating a lot of real food, and a lot of fiber, a lot of raw foods, you shouldn't have any problem with elimination at all. But unless you're having a minimum 1 to 2 good healthy bowel movements per day, you're slightly constipated, and that's a serious situation. Constipation means that you're not eliminating those waste products, and they can be reabsorbed through your colon and get back into your bloodstream and cause a lot of toxicity in your body. So that's why we need to do a detox on a regular basis. It would be good, especially if you're overweight, you got some excess body fat. It would be good to take a day off from eating and maybe just drink some vegetable juices. And then maybe like change the seasons, we should do a real good, maybe a 3 or 4 day, 5 day detoxification program. We're not going to really get into that. That's another training. But I would recommend that you consult with with a good either integrative holistic medical doctor or naturopathic doctor or a good nutritionist who really knows how to put you on a really safe detoxification program. That'd be really helpful. Well, I've got ahead of myself. Okay, there's a slide that says personalized nutrition. Okay, so the important thing here is to realize that we're all biochemically unique. In other words, you know, what could be a great healthy food for one person can actually cause them to almost die. I know some people that are really allergic to nuts. If they eat nuts, they have to go to the hospital. They almost can die. So you need to still, it's really worthwhile to consult with a naturopathic doctor or a good nutritionist to see what foods are really working best for your particular system. Because if you're having a little trouble with low energy, or maybe getting ill all the time, you're not really getting, or you have digestive problems, there's probably some foods there that you're eating that are causing you those problems. And there's lots of different blood tests, muscle testing ways they can do that. But I want to tell you about one that you can do easily yourself at home that's pretty accurate. It's called the pulse test. And what you do, you take a food that that you may suspect might be causing you problems. Let's say it's oranges. So you take your pulse and say it's 70, okay? Then you eat the orange and wait, a few minutes, and then recheck your pulse. And if it goes up at least a minimum of about 10 beats, that means your body is struggling with that particular food, and that food's probably not good for you. So that's something you can do at home. You can test the food, see if it's serving you well or not. Nutritional supplementation, we're not really going to get into this real well, a whole lot, but I highly recommend. We do need supplementation, and that's exactly what that means. That doesn't mean that you can live on your vitamin and mineral pills. You got to eat real food, but it's unless you have your own organic garden and you have time to really learn all the different nutrients that your body needs on a regular basis, and know the foods that'll give you all those nutrients on a daily, regular basis, you're going to need some supplementation. And so I highly recommend that you get a whole food uh, supplement that's made from whole foods, because that's how our body is able to absorb out of our nutrients out of our foods. All these high potency synthetic vitamin formulas and mineral formulas, they're really poorly absorbed, and it's mostly a waste of money. You're just gonna it's just gonna go right through. You're not going to get really absorbed. And what I do, there's a lot of good herbal green products in powder form that you can just mix with water or juice and drink them in the morning. You get a lot of minerals and trace minerals and vitamins naturally from a whole lot of different kind of green products. We definitely need trace minerals. You can actually buy little bottles of liquid trace minerals. It's a good thing also to put into your water. It makes your water more alkaline. Vitamin D3, we now know that it's a big deficiency in most people in America. Vitamin D3 is the natural form of vitamin D3. It's really good for prevention of cancer and many, many things. So you probably need, unless you're out, well, even if you get in sun, but if you live in the northern areas where you don't get out in the sun much, you definitely need to supplement with vitamin D3. Omega-3 fatty acids, I think that's pretty well known these days. All the benefits of getting the omega-3 fatty acids in your system. Probably with krill oil, there's a bunch of new different types on the market these days you can investigate. And of course, probiotics. I don't know why that's not on here. Probiotics means pro-life. It's putting back the friendly, healthy bacteria into your colon. They have a lot of things that they do for you in your colon. Particularly, they keep the spread of bad bacteria from spreading, and things like candida and all those sort of things. So it's really important to get some probiotics on a regular basis as well. So here's my daily recommendations. It's really eating quality over quantity. It's said in America that we are that we're now I can't remember what it is. We're overfed and undernourished. That's it. Overfed and undernourished. We get plenty of calories, but we're not getting the nutrients that we need. So it's not about how much quantity. It's about eating quality, real foods, and you want to make sure you're staying hydrated. It's basically one half your body weight in pounds, and that goes to how many ounces of water you should be drinking every day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that means 100. Half of that's 100. So you should be drinking about 100 ounces of water per day, and that varies a little bit, with how active you are. And eat whole, organic, non-GMO foods. Try to eat 50% raw, and then take some whole food supplements. So just doing these basic things for good nutrition will just serve you so well and make such a huge difference in your life. So Just one last thing then. If you want to really get some more information about overall good nutrition and what foods might be best for your particular body type, and then how you can actually get organized so you can make healthy, fast meals in 15 minutes or less, you can check out my book, Real Food, Real Fast. And that is you can find that under the products for books on my website, agelesslivinglifestyle.com. So, as always, always remember, be bold and never be old.